Hello everyone, welcome to the 160 Q&A practice. We're going to start off with defense questioning. Ready? Now, after you were taken to the emergency room, did you receive some treatment while I was there or after I left? When you were taken to the emergency room, did you go to the emergency hospital? Did you not at some time that evening? Yes. Did you receive some treatment? Yes. What kind of treatment did you receive? I'm not sure. I guess I got my lip sewed up by one of the doctors that was on duty at that time. I guess so. Were you then released from the emergency room? I went home sometime that night. All right. Did you at any time after that see another doctor? I would have to go back and look through the records. I don't remember. Do you mean that night? At any time after, not just that night. Well, somebody had to remove these stitches. Who was the doctor who removed the stitches? I don't remember. Did you also see a dentist in connection with one of your injuries? Yes. Was that for the tooth? Yes. And was that dentist a Dr. Crow, do you recall? I don't know. And what did he do in connection with that tooth? Do you recall? X-rays and all that, I guess. As far as your lip is concerned, that is healed at this time, is that correct? Yes. And you have no complaints regarding your lip at this particular time? Not that I know of. I notice your tooth is still broken. Is that right? Yes. Have you discussed with anyone any possible replacement or with Dr. Crow? Yes. What was that discussion? To get it fixed. Was he going to put a false tooth in? I'm not sure what he was going to do. When was the last time you had a discussion with Dr. Crow about replacing the tooth? I don't remember. You don't have any other broken teeth by any chance, do you? No, I don't. So then actually would it be a fair statement to say that you really only saw Dr. Crow one time in connection with the tooth? I think I saw him a few times. I don't know. I would have to look at the bills. Now, with regard to any other injuries that you received in the accident, what other present complaints do you have that you relate to those injuries? Nothing outside of the ankle and the knee. I guess that is about the extent of it. Well, your main treating doctor was Samuel N. Jones, is that right? Yes. When did you last see Dr. Jones for treatment or examination relating to the injuries that you received in the accident of July 4? Well, in your answer to interrogatories, you indicated that it was in the month of April. Would that be anyway? Would that refresh your recollection? That is pretty close. It would be about 2.5 years ago. When is the last occasion that you had any actual treatment for your knee or your ankle? I have had no special treatment from any doctor since the last time that I visited Dr. Jones. He said swimming was good for it, and I have done some of that. Have you done anything on your own since that April? Do you mean under the doctor's care or what he suggested to do? Certainly. Swimming and exercise. I like to play golf, but I can just barely make 9 holes before my leg gives out. Okay, so we're going to switch transcripts. This also will be defense questioning. Ready? Here we go. Could you tell us the circumstances that occurred on March 10, 2010 at the Connecticut State Prison in New Haven? Yes, that morning I was working as a security guard assigned to Unit 12, cell blocks 3 and 4. Please proceed. On that particular morning, my supervisor, Sergeant York, informed us that we would be holding a surprise inspection of the A Wing. What is the A Wing? The A Wing is a closely monitored section within Connecticut State Prison. It contains maximum security cells. Why is an individual sent to the A Wing? It all depends. Some individuals are very dangerous. They have committed murder, multiple murders, and most have already been incarcerated in several other institutions. Then murderers are the only prisoners in this A Wing? No, some are escape risks. They have broken out before or tried. Some are high-powered people, members of the mafia, the underworld, and other organized crime units. Did you assist in conducting a search? Yes, I did. During the search, did an incident occur in Eric Lewis's cell? Yes. What happened? We finished searching the A Wing and were returning the inmates to their cells. Inmate Lewis approached the bars and became argumentative with me regarding the removal of personal belongings from his cell. What did you remove? A small piece of metal and a sharpened pencil. What was said by inmate Lewis? He began using a great deal of profanity, trying to enrage the other prisoners. He began tearing his cell apart. What happened then? After I ordered the other inmates into their cells and locked them down, we entered inmate Lewis's cell. Did a fight ensue? Yes, inmate Lewis refused to calm down. He continued throwing things. Sergeant York struck the inmate across the face in an effort to make him stop. Inmate Lewis swung at Sergeant York and hit him in the left jaw. He fell to the ground. Then what happened? I attempted to assist Sergeant York. I grabbed inmate Lewis from the back in a choke hold. At the same time, Sergeant York was able to return to a standing position. Were you able to restrain him? Yes, Sergeant York put the handcuffs on him, and we returned to exit the cell. What happened next? Inmate Lewis was being led from the cell when he performed a karate-type kick into Sergeant York's back. York fell to the ground. Were you able to control inmate Lewis? Yes, I hit him in the back of the head with my nightstick, and he fell to the ground. I then called for assistance on my radio unit. Why didn't you call for assistance prior to this time if you knew of the prisoner's violent nature and past history? Everything happened so quickly, it did not cross my mind. What happened next? Guards Connor and Kilroy entered A Wing and assisted us. Was the prisoner rendered unconscious? Yes, he appeared to be. Was Sergeant York unconscious? No, but he was in extreme pain and could barely stand up. What happened next? Guard Kilroy radioed for medical help to be sent from the prison hospital to A Wing and began to assist Sergeant York. What did Guard Connor do? He began checking cells in the A Wing to make sure that no other disturbances were about to start. Did anyone check to see whether or not inmate Lewis was breathing or conscious? No. What position was he in? Lying face down, his arms behind him, his hands in cuffs. How long did it take for medical assistance to arrive? About 10 minutes. All right. I'm going to switch transcripts one more time. And going to start with plaintiff. Can I call Cindy Netter? Mrs. Netter, please come forward. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly state that the testimony you shall give in the matter now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Please be seated and state your first and last name for the record. Cindy Netter. Okay, Mr. Anderson, did you and Mr. Netter ever receive a check from his parents? Yes, we did. And do you recall when that was? Not the exact date. It was prior to purchasing our home in 2006. And the amount. Do you recall what the amount was? $120,000. Who is that written out to? I believe Steve and myself. Your Honor, I have pre-marked some exhibits, so this ends up being exhibit number 14 on mine in every reference, and everything else, if we could mark things out of order. Marked for identification 14? Yes, 14. May I approach, Your Honor? Yes, you may. Exhibit 14. Would you take a look at that and describe it for me? It's a check from his parents made out to both Steve and myself for $120,000, signed by his father. And the date? 1/21/06. Is there a notation in the memo area or this area here? Yes, there is. And what does that say? Loan. Was that there when you signed it? I don't believe it was. Would you look at that? Does that appear to be Mr. Netter's handwriting? I object. That's not within the personal knowledge of this. She has testified that the signature on the check was his signature. Mr. Anderson, can you lay a foundation concerning her? Have you ever seen Mr. Stan Netter's signature before? Yes, I have. And his handwriting? Yes, I have. And does that appear to be his signature on that check? Yes, it does. Does that appear to be his handwriting where it has the names written on there? Yes. Does it appear to be his handwriting where loan is written? It would be hard for me to say. A lot of the letters, take a look at there are two signatures on the back. Yes, there is. Do you recognize those? Yes, I do. And whose signatures are they? The top one is mine and the bottom one is Stephen's. All right, so that concludes our Q&A practice for the 160 class.